Welcome back to Pitch and Bitch for season 2.
We made it. Thank you.
And we're so excited that you're all here. Oh my God. So are you guys ready for season 2? Would you like to announce this season's theme, Jayme?
The theme of this season is we should leave.
Yeah, we should go.
There are so many red flags.
And I know it would be impolite, but I think it's time.
Yeah, fuck politeness.
Yes.
To quote a very popular podcast.
Yes. Fuck politeness.
Fuck politeness.
This season's theme is going to be what we refer to as social awkwardness horror. In those moments when you can see someone's red flags just stacking one on top of the other, and you know deep in your soul that if you don't leave, something really bad is going to happen here.
Yes, anywhere from awkward home visits to bad roadside attractions to why do you need a movie made about you?
Yeah, there's a lot.
There is a lot. Very excited for this season.
Yes, this is going to be so much fun, guys. And we are going to start it off with an absolute banger just in time for Black History Month. We are doing Jordan Peele's 2017 debut feature, Get Out.
How exciting. Love this movie. Great rewatchability. So excited.
Look at us.
Beautiful.
So thrilled.
Not planned.
Not at all.
Not planned.
I love this movie. I'm so excited to talk about it.
I was so stoked the first time I saw it. It was one of those ones where you just are like, I need to be online. I need to see what is up. Like, what does this mean? What are we doing?
So many Easter eggs.
So many layers.
So many layers. Yeah, that is one thing I really love about Jordan Peele. There is not a single thing in a single frame in this movie that was not deliberately put there and thought about, which I love.
Me too. It gives it an excellent rewatchability factor.
Right? Every time you watch it, you find something new.
There's a new puzzle piece to explain things and maybe further question your curiosity as well.
Exactly. And one beautiful thing about all of the layers and all the details in this movie is it has led to so many fun facts. I hope you guys are ready. Oh, there's so many. We're going to go in deep on this one.
What an excellent theater movie this was.
Yes. Fantastic. This was one of those movies in the theater where the entire audience, just at least in my experience, kind of understood the assignment.
Yes.
And everyone was so quiet, paying attention. You could have heard a pin drop in that theater because everybody was just rapt, as they should be. And it was great.
I agree.
So do we want to just dive on
Let's
into it?
Let's get into it.
Yeah,
honestly,
I love this movie. So Get Out premiered on February 24th, 2017 in the US. It was directed by the one and only Jordan Peele, who also wrote the screenplay. It stars Daniel Kaluuya, Allison Williams, Bradley Whitford, and Catherine Keener. Its budget, would you like to take a quick guess?
Yes. I feel like this one was, I want to say maybe 25 million.
Ooh, okay. I'm about to blow your mind then.
Okay.
It was $4.5 million.
That's excellent.
This movie looks insane.
I always forget because it's realistically, oh no, there's a couple locations, but realistically it's just the one.
Yeah, realistically it's just the house.
Yeah.
It's different parts of the house. And I actually did my best to confirm that number because I was like, that feels really low. But that's the only one that I could find online. So I'm assuming it must be at least around that. But to make a movie like this for less than $5 million, that's fucking wild.
It really is. It really is.
Admittedly, Daniel Kaluuya and Allison Williams weren't really huge names. Allison Williams had been on Girls, so people kind of knew who she was. But the big name was Bradley Whitford, basically, because he had been on, West Wing and he'd been around for a while. But again, he wasn't a household name, so it kind of makes sense that you could do this movie a little cheaper.
Yes.
And they also shot it in Alabama. I believe it was in Birmingham. So that was a lot cheaper as well. I suspect that's probably why they shot it there. Although the irony of this movie being shot in Alabama is not lost on me.
Well, it adds when the southern flair of just being creepy. Unfortunately,
Exactly.
it just did.
It does.
The brownness of the estate around.
Yeah,
it
like
just kinda
the
added to
nature
it.
is not as like green and lush as it would be in the
Yeah,
north. It's
yeah.
much more sort of like brownish.
It
and
added to
things.
the color palette. It made something bleak about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Lots of beiges on these white people.
Oh God, so much beige.
I am a white person, so I'm.
Me too.
Yeah.
And like we're also two millennial white women talking about this particular movie. And again, that irony is not lost on me. So
Yes. Literally, thank you for being on this journey with us.
right, we love you so much. Thank you for sticking around.
But the impact of this movie culturally was insane.
Huge.
Thinking about 10 years from now, like back then to comparatively, the amount of things that have just gone down is literally insane.
It actually has been almost 10 years. I didn't even think about that.
Yes.
Because it's now 2026. Wow.
Yes.
Holy crap. Okay. But yeah, you're so right. Like this movie, I feel like only gains relevance with time. Like it is more poignant and more relevant than ever. Like
It's so necessary. It was so
Yeah.
necessary. And for a comedian's directorial debut, like, wow.
And I mean, I didn't include this in fun facts because I think a lot of people already know, but I do love the fact that this was sort of like Jordan Peele's breaking point as an actor because they offered him the role of the poop emoji in the Emoji Movie, and he said that that was his breaking moment where he was like, I think I'm going to direct now. And then he made Get Out, which like, yeah, right call. Good choice.
I think so too. I will say, I think, like, I like Us. I liked Nope, but this is to me is the star child here.
Absolutely. And honestly, when we get into fun facts, I'll talk about it a bit, but it makes sense why it is that way once you find out a little more about his like writing process and how this movie came into being.
Okay.
It actually makes a lot more sense that this one is the strongest.
Yeah.
But one thing I am going to say before we get into any more of it is I just love how big of a horror nerd Jordan Peele is.
Oh, for real.
I love it. He's such a nerd, and that's one of the reasons why this is so layered. Like, there's so many references to so many different things, and like, you can tell he's just like that nerdy movie kid who loves horror movies, who loves the genre. Like, I feel like he would be one of those people who you would sit down, start talking, and he would list off like hundreds of movies as influences and things like.
You can definitely, my favorite part is that he takes classic horror tropes and made them fun.
Yes.
Because hypnosis, like,
Yeah, a lot of the elements of this movie you could argue are like classic horror tropes, but they're presented in such an interesting way that you either don't notice the trope or you don't care, basically.
Exactly.
Which is genius. Absolutely genius. Cannot say enough good things about Jordan Peele. Basically love him. How much money do you think this movie made, Jimmy?
oh, I think it did really well. It probably, maybe like for, let's say like 90 million opening weekend. I feel like,
Ooh, okay, that's a little high. Its opening weekend was approximately $33.4 million in the U.S.,
okay, that's still really good.
which is good. Like
That's
that
three
is
times more your budget.
That's almost I can't math. That's almost more than 6 times your budget, I believe.
That I can't math either.
I can't math, but it's fine.
Thank you.
It's all good, guys. We are not here to talk about math.
No.
But its overall worldwide box office wound up being approximately $259.9 million.
There we go.
Yeah, for a $4.5 million investment, that's pretty damn good.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, like a little bit.
And well, also the fact that it got nominated for any Academies.
It did. Why don't we
takes
get
a
into
lot.
that instead of saving that for fun facts? Because I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure a lot of people already know this anyway. So this movie did get nominated for several Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Leading Actor, Best Director, and Best Original Screenplay. It did win Best Original Screenplay. That was
Yes.
the only one that it won. However, Jordan Peele is actually only the third person in history to be nominated for Best Picture, Director, and Original Screenplay for their debut film. The only people to do it before him were Warren Beatty and James L. Brooks.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly. He is also the first Black American to win Best Original Screenplay. That had never happened before.
Double damn.
Which, damn, but unfortunately for the Academy, also not surprising. And since we're talking about box office, I will also burn this little fun fact here real quick. This is actually the highest grossing debut film based on an original screenplay ever in Hollywood history. It beat out the reigning champion, which was the Blair Witch Project, which had made $140 million.
The originality on this is amazing to me.
It's so incredible.
It's refreshing.
It is.
It was fun.
It was just so unlike anything that had been presented to North American horror audiences on such a large scale. Like, there have been people telling these kinds of stories for a long time, but nobody had ever really given them a real budget in order to do it.
Yes.
And so having a movie that is not only, like we were saying, this relevant to North American life at this point, because, like, it is, let's be real, y'all, it also is so slick. It's beautiful. Everything, like the pacing, the script, everything is so tight right from the start to the very end. So this is like, you know, I had a teacher who said something that stuck with me when I was a teenager, which is that Halloween is the Cadillac of slasher films. And to me, this is also a Cadillac of a horror film. It is perfect. Like, it's so hard to find anything wrong with it. And I mean, we'll get into it a little bit later. I don't want to go too far into it, but like, it's really hard to criticize this movie for damn near anything.
Especially on the second watch. And it's been a while since I've rewatched it, probably a few years. And then to be beautifully surprised on how fun it is, how your heart like still races, how you know the outcome, but still like you just want him to get out of there.
Right? The whole time. I feel like every time I watch this, there are different points where, like, even if I noticed those red flags before, they just become so much more obvious to the point where I'm like, why are you still there? Like, I get that she's your girlfriend and, like, you don't want to leave her and all this stuff. And, like, again, we'll get into it in a few minutes. But, like, dude.
Well, kind of like in Fresh when she's revealing so much about herself and how alone she is and how nobody, like how she doesn't have any family or anything like that. For him, too, to go so far into the backstory and then the one scene where he's like, it's just you and I. And that broke me because it's like, you're ignoring all these flags.
It's your trauma, as it is with all of us. It's your trauma. It's just making you completely ignore this because you can't see it through the lens of your trauma, basically.
So basically for us, first impression, really freaking good.
Amazing.
Yeah. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Thank you.
Sneaking back over to awards, though, I'm just going to mention a couple of other ones. It did win both Best Director and Best Picture at the Independent Spirit Awards. But the one that I want to mention is actually the Golden Globes. Because for whatever reason, which they still haven't really explained, they nominated this for Best Picture Musical or Comedy. And they also nominated Daniel Kaluuya as Best Actor, Musical or Comedy. And admittedly, Jordan Peele has described this as a satirical horror film, sure. But it's a horror film. And it got to a point where, at the time, Jordan Peele even didn't understand why it was in this category, so he tweeted out that Get Out is a documentary. Like, it should be nominated as a documentary, nominated as a musical, nominated as a comedy, nominated as whatever. Like,
the Golden Globes is always confusing. Sometimes it's like it is what it is. Like, you can't, it is a horror film.
It really is a horror film.
It's playing on some like real life anxieties, like meeting new people, meeting people in a way that you think that you're going to be othered. There's a lot of layers in here that relate to just normal, simple social anxiety and also just like you're in harm's way in a weird way because everybody knows you never go to a second location.
Never go to a second location.
And this is 100% a very large second location.
Yes, this is a horror film. And like, I get that there's no best horror film, so that means you nominate it as a drama. Because realistically, that's what it's dealing with, is human drama. And sure, there are moments of levity, like Rod, the best friend character, provides a lot of comic relief and things like that. Like, there are moments of comedy in the movie. That doesn't make it a comedy.
I can kind of see it, though, at the same time, because it does have this hybridness to it. They made it so that you have just more relief throughout.
Yes.
So because he's a comedian, he really understands beats and timing.
Yes.
Which is very prevalent throughout this entire movie.
Exactly. And I don't know if this is a thing, but I do wonder if maybe he leaned a little harder into the comedy just because this was his first sort of branch out from something like Key and Peele or doing comedy and things like that. So he probably knew that people were expecting a certain amount of comedy. So if the movie had just been like completely bleak throughout, I don't know if it would have been successful. You could argue that in terms of horror, it might have been a scarier movie, but I don't know that it would have been as popular and successful as it was.
And then also it's like, who is it? Like, it's definitely scary for more people than it is for others because
Yes.
you will you can either empathize with the character or just sympathize with the character. And also, like, it just plays on everyday social insecurities and meeting new people and how that's pretty scary. And then also it it just plays on like your worst possible thing happening to you by going to meet somebody's family at a second location.
Exactly. And like what I really love, which I think is so clearly visible in this movie, is the subtle racism that's happening. And it's not very subtle, admittedly, in a lot of this movie, but like in the party sequence, for example, where all of these people, some of the phrases they're saying, I have heard white people say at parties and all kinds of stuff. And they think they're being like real progressive and all this stuff. And it's like, you are a huge part of this problem. Oh my God. Like, from the second all of those people arrive in that sequence, you know something is wrong. Yes, absolutely. But from Chris's perspective, this for him, he's had this interaction 100 times before. It doesn't suck any less for him, which you can see. But like,
I definitely liked how they filmed it though, because it made him feel like he was more on display than usual.
yes, absolutely. That's why I say you can tell there's something else afoot here as
Yes.
well. Like there is something wrong that is the, major narrative of the movie. But what I love is like, that's one of the ways that you can absolutely tell this was written by a person of color. This was not written by a white person.
Yes.
Because those interactions, that's the kind of thing that, like the white people in that scene, most people wouldn't bat an eye at or really even think about. Like, what is it? The one line that I always remember is the older white guy who talks about how having pale skin has only been in fashion for a few hundred years and now the pendulum is swinging back and blah, blah, blah. I have literally heard that exact phrase come out of someone's mouth and like...
They casted these background people so perfectly because
did.
that man, his features ratio to the rest of his head was quite interesting.
It was something.
It was definitely something.
It was something.
The comments though, oh my gosh, they just, on a second viewing, I forgot how cringy they are, and it just makes your skin crawl because
it does.
Everybody has kind of been in a position where they will be the only person of that type in the room, where you are a minority in the room.
Yeah.
And you somehow become a representative for
the entire minority. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's insane because you
Yes.
cannot speak for everybody. And then, oh my gosh, I know it's a hyper escalated situation that he's in, but oh my God, it doesn't get any better. It does not get any better. You do not look forward to this part. It just makes your skin crawl in such another way.
The tension that they managed to build in that sequence is absolutely unreal because you're absolutely right. Like you feel that sort of like, that's so not only social anxiety, but it's something larger than that, where you're like, oh God, okay, not only do I not want to be here, I'm about to have some of my least favorite kind of interactions all day. But again, because of social niceties, I don't feel like I can potentially do anything about it or say anything about it. And I kind of just have to suffer through it, which by the way, no, you don't. I'm just going to go ahead and say that right now. You don't have to suffer through it. Like, you don't. People might think that you're a little much. They might think you're a little rude. At the end of the day, they are the one being an asshole, and you can rest easy in that. So, no, as we said earlier, fuck politeness. Like, nah. So, shall we get into a little synopsis over here?
Yes. Give us a breakdown.
Yes, let's do it. We open on a suburban street at night as a black man, Lakeith Stanfield, walks alone, talking on the phone. A car pulls up on the curb behind him. Sensing trouble, he starts to walk away. A person wearing a medieval knight's helmet tackles and subdues the man, drags him into the trunk of his car, and drives away. We then cut and meet the talented, handsome young photographer Chris Washington, played by Daniel Kaluuya, who's reluctantly agreed to meet the family of his white girlfriend, Rose Armitage, Allison Williams. Chris is unsure of a warm reception from the family, as they do not know that he is black, despite Rose's assurances that her parents and family are not racist. During their drive to the family's countryside estate, they hit and kill a deer. When a white policeman asks for Chris's identification, even though he was not driving, Rose intervenes on Chris's behalf, since she was the one who was driving at the time. At the house, Rose's white parents, neurosurgeon Dean, Bradley Whitford, and psychotherapist/hypnotherapist Missy, Catherine Keener, and her brother Jeremy, Caleb Landry Jones, introduce themselves and show Chris around the house, attempting to make him feel comfortable, but also revealing that Dean's father was defeated by Jesse Owens in the trial for the Berlin Olympics. Chris is also introduced to the family's black servants, Georgina and Walter. Chris notices that the workers at the estate are uncannily compliant. Unable to sleep, Chris goes outside to smoke and sees the groundskeeper Walter running at him at full speed from the woods. Missy catches Chris returning and talks him into a hypnotherapy session to cure his smoking addiction, using the noise of a spoon stirring in a teacup as a hypnotic trigger. In a trance, he recounts the death of his mother in a hit and run when he was a child, about which he feels guilty because he waited too long to call for help. He sinks into a void that Missy refers to as the sunken place, where his body becomes temporarily paralyzed. He awakens believing he had a nightmare, but realizes that cigarettes now revolt him. Chris calls his friend, TSA officer Rod Williams, Lil Rail Howry, about the hypnosis and the strange behavior at the house.
Sex slave.
Sex slaves!
Sex slaves.
White people taking sex slaves!
Honestly, he was the best.
He was so great. He was the best.
It just continues our streak. This is the third movie in a row where you gotta have a good bestie.
You gotta have a good bestie. Dozens of wealthy white people arrive the next day at the house for the Armitage's annual get-together. They take an interest in Chris, admiring his physique or expressing admiration for black American figures such as Tiger Woods. Chris then meets a blind art dealer, Jim Hudson, played by Stephen Root, who takes an interest in his photography. Chris also meets Logan King, Lakeith Stanfield, a black man who also acts very strangely and is married to a much older white woman. When Chris attempts to stealthily photograph Logan, the camera flash causes Logan to become hysterical, rushing at Chris and frantically lashing out for him while screaming at him to get out. Logan is taken away by Dean, who later claims that Logan has a seizure. So Chris calls his friend Rod and talks to him about the hypnosis and the strange behavior at the house again. Chris sends Logan's photo to Rod, who recognizes him as Andre, a missing man they both know who lives in Brooklyn. Away from the house, Chris persuades Rose to leave with him while Dean holds a silent auction with a picture of Chris on display. While packing to leave, Chris finds photos of Rose in prior relationships with black people, including Walter and Georgina, contradicting her claim that he is the first black person she's ever dated. When Chris tries to leave, but Rose refuses to give him his car keys, Jeremy blocks the door and Missy uses the hypnotic trigger to send Chris back into the sunken place. Chris awakens strapped to a chair. A video presentation featuring Rose's grandfather, Roman, Richard Hurd, explains that the family transplants the brains of white people into black bodies. The consciousness of the host remains in the sunken place, watching but powerless. Jim Hudson, the blind art dealer, says that transplanting their brains into black people is the latest quote-unquote fad, but he clarifies that he does not care about Chris's race and that he only wants Chris's eyesight and his artistic talents. Meanwhile, Rod, who has been trying to contact Chris and suspects foul play, goes to the police, but they do not believe his theory about the Armitages. Sex slave!
He was great.
He was so great.
He
and
really
also,
was.
he was right.
He was right the whole time.
He was literally right.
The whole time.
The whole time. But anyway, I digress.
I have that in my notes so many times about how right he was. And
Right?
it's like the chain of people not listening to people and not believing people
Infuriating.
kills me.
Infuriating.
Yes.
So Missy attempts to hypnotize Chris again, but Chris plugs his ears, having pulled stuffing from the chair he's strapped to, blocking the hypnotic commands. When Jeremy comes to collect him for the surgery, Chris bludgeons Jeremy and then kills Dean, who falls and accidentally sets fire to the surgical suite. Chris kills Missy when she attacks him before finishing off Jeremy when he attacks again. He then tries to escape in Jeremy's Porsche, but when he accidentally hits Georgina, who has the brain of Rose's grandmother, Marianne, he is compelled by guilt over his mother's hit-and-run death, picks her up, but she attacks him when she awakes, causing the car crash and killing her. Rose and Walter, who has the brain of Rose's grandfather, Roman, arrive to capture Chris. During a scuffle, Chris uses his phone's flash to briefly free Walter from Roman's control. Walter takes Rose's rifle, shoots her, and fatally shoots himself. Chris starts to strangle Rose, but cannot bring himself to kill her. A police car arrives, and Chris surrenders, but it's revealed to be Rod. He picks up Chris, and they leave Rose to die alone in the road.
Beautiful.
Rod, T.S. motherfucking A, here to save the day.
And that was so great. That was so great. There's so many things throughout this movie. I love all the subtle details. I love all the imagery.
Yes.
Everything is extremely well paid off as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lion stuffed animal in her bedroom, so you're in the lion's den.
Yep.
There's great the classic her eating the Fruit Loops and the milk separate. There's also I enjoy the fact that the production design through this one, Us, and Nope kind of stays pretty consistent.
It does. That's
and
true.
it makes me pretty happy because it's I like the style. You can tell it's a
Yes.
Jordan Peele movie. You have a good team behind you. I quite enjoy it.
The one thing that stands out to me a lot is the imagery and the discussion about the deer at the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
So at the beginning of the movie, when Chris and Rose hit a deer and kill it, fun fact, Jordan Peele actually recorded the sounds of the dying deer. That's him. That's not a deer. Which, like, that was a choice. I don't know why you wanted to do that, but whatever works for you. And then, you know, when they get to the house, Dean, the dad, has his like little like line/speech about how he considers deer to be like vermin and, you know, he wants them all dead because they're killing the ecosystem. But then as they go around the house, he literally has deer mounted on the walls, and like the teacup that Missy uses has a deer print on it. And it's such a clever way to play into the idea of hating something while also fetishizing it.
Yes, I agree, and it's so funny because it's like, are you talking about deer anymore? Like
No,
the way
you're
that
not.
you're going a little too hard.
Yeah, we all know you're not talking about deer, my guy.
And
Like,
it's not nice.
no.
His death was very relieving.
And then he gets stabbed to death with a deer antler, which
It's perfect.
Like,
it all comes back.
it all pays off.
When the brother asks him about UFC and then he puts him in the chokehold, I'm like, okay, you really thought of everything here. I think this is why I have difficulties kind of with his other two movies, because for this one, everything feels so well thought out.
Yes.
The exposition in it is great because you learn so much through the tour. And then I also, throughout this series, you and I are going to notice that there is basically a villain kind of, shall we say, plot reveal. And
A twist.
the twist reveal. And
Yes.
with this one, I enjoy the fact that it is on a TV that is so old.
Yeah, old school tube TV.
Because they're trying to show that we value, like we were trying
Old
to keep it going.
values.
Yeah, exactly.
we want to keep parts of them alive.
Old
even
leather
if it's
couches.
their television.
Yes,
Which
everything.
I don't even think that would be compatible with a VCR at that point. Like, I don't know how you're playing that. And yes, I just said VCR. If you don't know what that is, you are too young. Get out of here. No, not actually. You can stay. It's fine. I'm
Please
just kidding.
stay. We'll
Please
tell
stay.
you about them.
We love you. It's fine.
nice. They're fun.
We'll educate you. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know how they managed to play that video on that TV because it's so old. But yeah, like the whole house is all full of antiques, and it's also full of, you know, at one point Bradley Whitford points out these little statues. I think he says they're from Bali, and he talks about how it's such a privilege to be able to experience someone else's culture, which, like, one, that's some of the whitest shit I've ever heard, and two, like, ew.
Oh, yeah.
Just gonna say it. Ew.
a collection
Dude.
of culture in a...
And, like, it's not like it was, for example, like a photo of an experience you had while you were there or something like that. Like, that's fine. That's totally legit. That's something you went and did. You literally just bought souvenirs and call that experiencing someone's culture. That's not the same thing, my guy. And also, like, must be nice to be able to just, like, step in and out of whatever culture you feel like and never, ever have to worry because you, as a cishet white man, are never a part of a minority, basically.
Yeah, it's realizing, well, the travel industry in itself is extremely wasteful no matter what. Also, this weird kind of position that a lot of these countries are in because the tourism helps pay for a lot of things.
Yep.
So it's insane.
Yeah, it's a lot, but
Yeah.
there is something that does seem to be kind of particular to white folks where it's the idea that, you, for example, and I am just pulling this example out of my butt here, like you go down to an all-inclusive resort in Mexico, buy something at the gift shop and say that you saw Mexico.
Yeah, that you like to travel.
Yeah, like, no, I'm sorry, but that's not the same thing.
I hate to say it, but I agree with you 100%.
Right? And like, don't get me wrong. If you want to go to an all-inclusive, like, go do that. That's fine. Do you. Like,
Yes.
I'm not judging you for that, but don't tell me that you are a world traveler and that you saw a lot of Mexico when you went to a single resort and never left.
Like, I've seen people do backpacking. You guys are the real ones.
Yeah, like, y'all are the real travelers.
Yes, if you, yes, I 100%.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're traveling too, but you know you're not going for cultural experience.
No, you're going to sit drunk on a beach, which again, I can respect.
Yes.
But that's not the same thing.
Yes, which is why like there's just so many different types of travel. It all
Exactly.
depends what you want to do, what your budget is, and how you like to have fun.
Right? That's why I say, like, I'm making some shady jokes, but I'm not actually judging you at that point. If that's what you want to do on your vacation, do you?
No, but we are judging the people that are like, I'm so cultured, and the only thing you have gone to is all-inclusive, and you never left the resort.
I went to Vegas last year. I'm so cultured.
Yes. Yeah.
Sure, babe.
I went to Paris and New York all in one day.
It was so crazy. And the shopping, my God, you wouldn't believe it.
I looked at a Louis. I just looked at one.
Just looked at it. They almost charged me just for looking at it.
But the house tour really like continuing to the grandpa and like the Olympic situation. Oh, also second viewing. Like this isn't my second viewing, but it feels that way because it feels so fresh.
It
but
does.
The wig, the hats.
Yes, covering up the scars.
Yes.
Yeah. What I noticed, which I hadn't noticed before, and I kind of couldn't believe I missed it, is the grandpa / groundskeeper, Walter, who's in the background. Anytime you see him doing yard work, with the exception of when he's chopping wood in one scene, he's doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Which is a very subtle giveaway. So, for example, when you first see him, he's raking leaves on the front yard, which, like, you wouldn't really think anything of. This is a massive fucking estate. A professional groundskeeper would not be raking that entire estate by hand. He would have a leaf blower and have it done in half an hour.
And also,
Like,
the fact that she, how should I say this, like tweaks out when she goes to pour his iced tea. Like, I don't want to pour him iced tea. I was like, oh my God, racist grandma, you are in there.
right? Yeah, when
Like,
she, like, is
out
so
of-
focused on him.
Out
and
of
like,
all the times
Yes.
to like misspill, it's like, it's because you have to pour him some iced tea.
Yeah.
That's insane. So subtle,
so subtle.
but so impactful.
Absolutely. Or, like, for example, the fact that Missy, when she's hypnotizing people, she has her spoon and teacup, and it's a silver spoon. Something that has always been associated with being spoiled and privileged and all of the things that white people very much are in this film and, in life.
And I also enjoy the fact that he uses it for monkey paw. Like it's the,
Yep.
I quite enjoy that because it's like,
And Monkey Paw is taken from a 1902 story called The Monkey Paw, which is Jordan Peele's favorite. That's how he got its name.
that movie is actually pretty fun. It's classic storytelling.
Yep.
So
Check it out.
yeah, seriously. And
Check
then,
it out. It's fun.
right? I love it. It's always used in like children's horror in a weird
It is.
way.
It's kind of
too.
intro horror in a way, but I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, like everything in this movie, as I say, everything pays off. Everything is intentional. There
Sorry
are
to go
no
back to the
mistakes.
teacup.
No, please do.
Did you not love it when that shit got smashed?
Yes.
was
So
like,
satisfying.
"Oh."
And like the look on her face, because she knows that she is fucked without that. She has no way to defend herself. She has no way to do anything. That was her one thing.
And I love Catherine Keener. She's
I
great.
love her.
She has a very interesting filmography.
She does. She's kind of fascinating.
Yeah. But
I always associate her with comedy. Like,
Me too.
I always think of her as a comedic actress. Like, 40-year-old virgin is a big one that
Yes.
people our age tend to
She
think
took
of.
one for the team. Good for her.
Yeah, way to go, girl. Happy for you. You seem happy at the end of that movie, so happy for you. And my one friend who loves this movie and knows how much I hate it is going to appreciate this reference. She's also in Hamlet 2.
Hamlet 2. Oh my gosh, yes.
I can't with Hamlet 2. It's become almost like a running joke with my one friend that they are obsessed with that movie. They love it, and I absolutely cannot handle it. I can't stand it. Like, don't get me wrong, Steve Coogan is great, but like that movie is so insane. I actually can't.
It is.
Like,
It is. I remember seeing it like as a kid almost and it being like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
I was probably missing a lot of comedic beats, but it is definitely, it's for a particular spice of people, and that is 100% okay.
Yeah, sure is. Although credit where credit is due, that movie has a sequence that Steve Coogan is trying to write an original play, and it's one of the most accurate portrayals of like any creative process ever, because it's just him sitting at his computer trying to type, not being able to think of anything, and he starts playing with various objects around the room, and I'm like, yeah, that tracks. That's absolutely correct.
Procrastination. That's our song, Procrastination. You hitting up Spotify later this week.
Album drops next year, guys.
Oh, also, I don't know why, but every time they like referred to Obama, I kept cringing even more because that didn't age well.
No.
And there was just a lot of things like that party scene just got me so hard. And then also, I'm kind of realizing like they shot a lot of scenes outdoors.
They did.
Which means that you really only have to put up like a few silk screens and stuff
Yeah.
like that just to kind of like bounce off light. So you really kind of save a lot of money doing it
That's
that way.
true, actually. I didn't think about that. That's a really good point.
It really
Yeah.
like cuts a lot of budget. If like obviously there's still a lighting team that is
Oh
still
yeah,
making
of course,
sure they
and
look
like
good.
all the indoor scenes and stuff as well. Like there's still very much a lighting department, but that's actually such a good point. I didn't
Yes.
think about that.
Yes, because when you told me how low the budget was, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so
Yeah.
you guys did some things.
Yeah, you basically found one singular location that you could shoot everything at. Tried to do as much as you could with natural daylight,
And with somewhat recognizable people, because I forgot that the lead is from Skins, and I love Skins. Skins is great.
Skins, our generation's Euphoria.
Yeah, yeah.
We love Skins.
Excited for season 3. Can't even lie.
Right,
Yeah.
me too. I will be watching it.
I've been waiting.
Right, me too.
But so many like Skins, you have brought so many good people to horror. I cannot believe it.
Whoever did the casting on Skins should have gotten paid more than they did.
I think so.
The amount of talent that they had an eye for, because like there's Daniel Kaluuya, Jack O'Connell, who is just in Sinners, Nicholas Hoult, who's
Yes.
been in like everything ever.
Yes.
Oh gosh, what's the girl's name? She was on Game of Thrones.
I forget. And then also,
She plays the girl who Sam winds up with, and I cannot remember her name.
yeah.
And then there's like a few other people who are also on it.
The Life of Pi guy. Was
Yeah,
he?
Dev Patel.
Yes. Yes.
Who
Yeah.
I love. Big fan.
Green Knight. That movie was wild.
That movie was wild, but I was
good.
into it. And also, I'm just going to throw this out here because when we're recording this movie hasn't come out yet. Emerald Fennel, when you went to make Wuthering Heights, Dev Patel was right there. No offense to Jacob Elordi, but Dev Patel was right there.
They're like, we only want Australians.
She's like, this is how I imagined him. I'm like, so you couldn't imagine a person of color for a character that's a person of color? And I mean, don't get me wrong, for Wuthering Heights, I keep making jokes about how that movie exists purely to rage bait me because I love that book. I'm one of those people. I can acknowledge how toxic and terrible those characters are, but I love that book. Not supposed to be historically accurate. Apparently it's supposed to be like a music video and like really stylized and stuff. But my comment to my friend was like, is this rage baiting me? Absolutely. Am I going to go see it? Absolutely. Like, I'm already sat. It's already happening.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
I will absolutely be watching it. Even if it is just so that I can potentially pick it apart. I will be watching it.
But it's great that just the casting in general, like
Yeah, on Skins was like top tier.
Yes.
Top tier. And then, yeah, just so much talent on that show. It was crazy. I feel like I should Google who did the casting on that. Because as I say,
Yes.
like, whoever you are, you deserved more money. Because, like, wow.
And then also looking at the casting for Get Out, you realize it's a lot of people like, oh my God, Red Stapler. Oh my God, this guy. It's a lot of like kind of
Red Stapler. That's a reference to Stephen Root, who plays the blind art dealer. He was also Milton in Office Space, who is very, very fond of his red swingline stapler. I am completely unapologetic Stephen Root stan. He's
Me
amazing.
Too. We could play dodgeball.
Right, he's in Dodgeball. He also shows up in Oh Brother Where Art Thou. He plays the blind record producer.
Oh my god.
Oh, hey there, now, boys, y'all want to make a record? He's in True Blood. He plays a gay vampire in the first season.
He's one of those people that has just his toe is in like everything.
Yes, he's what I refer to as a working actor versus a famous actor, where like he's in so much stuff. Did you ever watch Barry with Bill Hader?
No, but I've
he's
heard
also
good
in
things.
that. He plays Bill Hader's handler.
Okay, that's funny.
And like, oh yeah, I love Stephen Root. I want to see him in so much more stuff. I think he's so underrated as an actor.
Because he only had a couple scenes in this, and it was very
And it was so good.
Yeah, he's always playing a different person.
Yes, he's very much a chameleon in that sense.
Yes.
And I really liked him in this movie. I think he was great. I think, again, he was great casting. Because you're right, he's only in, I think, like 2 scenes, really? Maybe, no, sorry, 3 scenes. And he's so impactful.
Yeah.
Like, you absolutely remember him. Like, most of the time, if I'm being a huge movie dork in my day-to-day life talking about Stephen Root, and people are like, I don't know who it is. I'm like, he's the blind art dealer.
Yes.
And Get Out. And they're like, oh, that guy. They know exactly who you're talking about.
I hate the fact that a lot of these people in this movie just could not handle the card that they were dealt.
Yes.
And for him, it's like, I'm sorry, dude, but you're gonna have to be blind. Or like for the grandpa, I'm sorry, but you had to lose. Like, you also have to die. Like,
right? It's like the ultimate form of like can't take rejection or loss in that way, where like, you know, the grandpa, like he lost out for the Olympics. And while that would be disappointing, sure, like you want to do that. You've been working towards it forever. You find a way to move on. Like,
for real, there needed to be rejection therapy for him.
Straight up. Like,
maybe for all these people.
For all these people, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah,
no.
Well, I also feel like it ties into that whole idea of like super rich white person privilege where like you don't really hear the word no.
Yeah,
about anything.
I like the
ever.
fact that it was a to quote Wikipedia.
Ooh,
it was because like more of the liberal leaning side as well, which was interesting because it's
I think that's crucial to making this movie work. Because if you set it, like, even when they shot it there, if you set it in the South or in, like, a red state or something like that, then everybody kind of just writes it off and is like, yeah, okay, like, you know, racist Southerners, for example. Like, it's a cliche. It's, you know, potentially accurate in certain cases, but it's also a cliche.
Yes.
And it would take away from the movie. Whereas... And it was so timely, especially as well, because like during particularly the Obama administration, which is when Jordan Peele was writing this and what inspired him to write this, was during the Obama administration, a lot of people took on the idea that because the president was black, we were now living in a quote unquote post-racial society, which no, we're absolutely not, especially as we've seen over the last 10 years. That's not a thing. That's never been a thing. Like, But the people who were leading that charge were the white liberals who voted for Obama because they assumed that that was somehow like a magic eraser over the entirety of racism in the last however many hundred years.
Well, and that's why this movie was impactful because it really had to remind people that, yes, racism still exists.
Yes.
And also with Peele, I think something I read somewhere where it said that he, like, a lot of this stuff was shit that was kind of said to him.
Yeah.
And I feel like for him, because of the person who he is, you definitely have pitched to these people before, and it's like asking people for money and the probably just the weird and like
well, I mean,
comments
let's be real. Like liberal Hollywood elites, I'm sure these are some of the people who he's having these interactions with. But again, we're gonna stick to talking about this movie because we could go on a whole other tangent for several hours, and I don't know.
Which reminds me
that.
of why, like, the brother, he was an antiviral, and I'm pretty sure The Last Exorcism, and he always kind of plays that kind of like
he's a really great villain. Caleb Landry Jones.
Yes, he does such a good job.
He is really good, and actually, we can get into this now for some of our best and worst and notable, etc. For me, and this is purely down to personal preference, it has nothing to do with the quality of his work. He's kind of one of the weak links for me.
Okay.
In
Yep.
this.
Yep.
And it's not because he's bad. He's really good. He's scary as hell, which he is supposed to be.
But his character definitely feels underdeveloped.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And I also feel like he is a little too much.
No subtlety.
No subtlety. And like, admittedly, at the dinner when he first kind of like gets into it, he's supposed to be a little drunk. He's supposed to be a little out of order. But like, I feel like from the second you see him on screen, you know he's a villain. He's here to fuck somebody up. He's not playing. Like, he is here to do something evil. We might not know what it is, but he is here to do something evil, even if we find out that he's just like a shitty frat boy off screen or something. Like, you know there's going to be something.
And like, they kind of, that's like, they do the thing where they, like, it feels a little thrown together at the end. So there is some exposition dumps, like when he's like, oh, Jer Bear she's doing it less harmful than Jer Bear was. And I'm like, but.
Well, it's sort of a fun fact, but like not really.
Mm-hmm.
The sequence at the end where Jeremy and Chris are fighting, so Chris is trying to escape. Mm-hmm. If you watch the sequence, basically Chris makes 3 escape attempts, and the first 2, Caleb manages to kick the door closed and stops him. And the 3rd attempt, he stabs him in the leg with the spoon and manages to escape, right?
Yeah.
So what I found out when I was doing my research for today's episode is apparently this is actually a callback to their conversation at dinner.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because Chris talks about having learned judo as a little kid, and then Jeremy goes off about jujitsu and how you have to be 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of your opponent. So when we see Chris later and he knows that Jeremy is going to kick the door closed again, that's him being a step ahead and saying like, yeah, okay, you can kick the door closed all you want. I'm going to stab you in the fucking leg so you can't kick it closed anymore.
Yes.
Like, so I thought that was interesting because I remember thinking that too at the end where I was like, this feels a little kind of like thrown together and like all, and like, I don't know. And then when I found that out, I was like, oh, again, everything pays off in this movie. There is not a single stone that is left unturned. But I do feel like it makes it make a little more...
It does.
It makes it a little more cohesive.
I'm not sure if I noticed the UFC reference because I went from a streamline of watching Bad Girls Club. And I really liked it when they got feisty, but they got to a point where they like weren't getting feisty enough. So the Ultimate Fighting Champion, like where they're trying to get their spot in the UFC, where they actually get in the ring, they get in the octagon.
Oh shit.
It's quite fun because it has the reality show drama that I love. So then all of a sudden I know about these different moves, and to see that he was talking about that, and then I'm like, okay, well, he put him in a chokehold. Obviously, everybody knows what a chokehold is.
Yes, even I know that.
To bring it back to that, like I thought that was cool that they did that. But also, if you need some good reality TV, those are 2 reality TV shows. Bringing you back Blast from the Past, the ones from the 2000s are always the best. But yes, to see it the second time and see him stab in the leg, which was so like it was just so relieving. A lot of relief. That made me really happy.
Yeah, you really wanted to see Jeremy suffer. Mm-hmm. Like,
you did.
Even if it's only for a minute, you really want to see it because he is so blatantly evil from the first time you see him on screen that you're like, sort of as an audience member, you're watching this fight scene going, fuck him up, Chris! Fuck him up! Get him!
And
Get
then,
him!
like, just because he's like so inherently evil from the beginning.
He is. And for me, I say it's down to personal preference just because, like, I feel like Caleb Landry Jones kind of always plays that.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's just how he's been cast or if that's what he does.
It's probably both.
It is probably both. But
you don't get an opportunity to show more, and also if you don't get casted to do more, it kind of happens. And then, but also him and her were great because it showed both sides of racism, where you have the out front racist.
Yeah, the violent, clear, aggressive racist versus the more insidious, subtle, what I would refer to in this movie as the social racist versus the violent racist.
Yes.
Yeah, you get both sides of it.
Ugh.
But yeah, that's kind of my only thing with this movie is that Caleb Landry Jones is a little bit much right off the bat. I would have loved to see, like, still have that violence and everything, still have everything end the same way, all that stuff, but maybe just in that one dinner party scene, have him, at least at the beginning, rein it in a tiny bit more. Just a touch.
I just kind of had this thought now. Do you think in the beginning, the Andre was meeting him or her?
Her.
Yeah. And then he was just kind of waiting.
Yeah.
I forgot that it even opened like that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. And also, I love the fact that they were like, does this look like a guy from Brooklyn?
Yeah, that when Chris sends Rod the photo and is like, why is he dressed like that? Like, he's from Brooklyn.
The hat.
Oh,
The hat. It had to be a straw hat.
It had to. It's a person move.
Sex slave.
Sex slave.
That got me every time.
Oh, God.
Every time.
I love Rod. I always laugh whenever he's on screen.
He was needed. He was so necessary.
I'm telling you, next 9/11 gonna be on some geriatric shit. That's one of my favorite lines.
That one also got me.
He's talking about patting down an old lady at the airport. Oh my God, especially because
when he lifts up the dog, see Sid.
Right? He's here. Like, proof of life.
And also that makes her an evil person even more because it's like you knew he had a dog. Like, who did you think was going to take care of that dog?
I guess I operated on the theory she would assume Rod would take care of it because he was dog sitting. So I guess she assumed that Rod would just like take the dog.
I don't like the assumption.
But I agree. I had to assume, which means you're a dick. You didn't have a contingency plan for that poor pup.
And you're prying on niceness. You're being very mean to somebody who would be extremely nice. So I'm glad that she got her comeuppance.
Yes.
And also, like, it's very obvious that how she's dressed in the ending scene as well.
Yes. Like, and the fact that she's drinking milk.
Yeah.
It always gets me. The link between milk and psychopathy in film, I think, is so funny.
Well, and then she's eating the
cereal. She has her separated cereal.
Yeah, because it's colored cereal.
Exactly. So she has her white milk and her colorful cereal that she keeps separate but wants to eat. And, you know,
the imagery, good.
It's so good. And I love, again, this is where I feel like you can tell Jordan Peele is such a huge horror nerd, is the fact that she's drinking milk. Because you can go back to, you know, like Clockwork Orange is always the example that I think of. Or even more recently in the newest Frankenstein, you have Dr. Frankenstein only drinks milk whenever he's drinking something on screen.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, you all are genre dorks, and I love it. I was so here for
the
it.
subtleties.
Yeah, because, I mean, let's be real. If you're not a little kid in the 90s like some of us were, what grown adult actively drinks a glass of milk?
Right?
Like...
Right?
I'm sure some exist, but I question your sanity.
Don't we all have, like, issues? Don't people just all have issues these days?
Even if you don't, I'd rather eat cheese than drink a glass of milk.
Yes.
You know?
100%. 100%. That's how I'll balance out my stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like, I think those are most of the notable things. They're just like, this movie is balanced on doing some stuff really subtlety and like some stuff being really out and proud. But I still like the scene where he like goes to shake his hand and like gives him like a fist bump.
Yeah, and like grabs the fist.
Yes. And slow, and him having all these interactions with the groundskeeper, like Georgina, and oh my gosh, the realizing that he slowly has nobody to turn to.
Yes, thinking that even in this place he may have an ally, and then realizing that he doesn't, and he is completely alone, would be so disorienting.
And even though it does feel like some stuff at the end feels a little thrown together, but the picture reveal is amazing.
Yes, that's a great reveal when we see all the photos of Rose with all of the people around the house.
Yes.
Like, you know, Walter and Georgina and like all of these people.
Oh my God.
Daniel Kaluuya, you see so many layers for like why he doesn't leave, because there's always that sequence where he and Rose kind of like leave the house and decide that they're going to leave. And, you know, they say that they love each other for the first time and all stuff. And you see that he sees the red flags, well, at least for a second. And then you see that trauma come through where he's like, if I have no one else, like I have none of the allies I thought I did, because this is my partner, this is my girlfriend, we're in love, she's my ally, she's my family.
Like, do you think she just
I can't leave her?
Went up to people, like how Phoebe in Friends goes up to people and says, "Are you single? Do you want to make out?" Like, do you think that like that's how she went up to people? And was like,
maybe.
Do you have a family? No. Great. Do you want to make out? Like,
oh my God,
like what is
good?
How are,
I don't know.
The victim approaching, like, my God. Like,
I feel like she'd be the kind of psycho who would like stalk you on social media and things to try and figure out if you had family.
Ugh.
Like, I think it would be that. Like, I think that's kind of the vibe.
That's why there's so many layers to this, because it's like there was this much planning.
Yeah, you were all in on it.
Everybody arrives all at once.
Yep.
When they stop talking.
Yes. Oh. The sequence at the party where Chris goes upstairs and all of the guests simultaneously just stop.
That's why I keep saying this movie's the best, because you and
so
I
good.
could pick little pockets.
Oh, from like every other scene.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it's so
insane.
good. The other performance that I wanted to point out was Betty Gabriel, who plays Georgina.
Yeah.
I think she's so incredible. And like it's been spoofed a few times and things like that. But the sequence where she's clearly struggling and she's with the no.
And you like see her
No, and
like
you see
pop out for a second.
Yeah, and you see the tear, and you see her fighting to try and come to the surface and like being repressed. And it's literally all like what we've talked about before. It's just face acting. It's just her face. There's no special effects. There's no music. There's no nothing. It is literally just her
Yes.
selling this, and you understand beyond a shadow of a doubt exactly what's happening. And it is so good. She's amazing in this movie.
At what point would you leave?
Ooh, if I was him, let's see. Honestly, after the dinner, I'd probably be having a conversation with her and being like, just so you know, this is kind of fucked up. And like, we can stay in the morning and sort of like through some of the party, but let's come up with a signal. And maybe halfway through the party, we might just split. Like, I think I'd be having that conversation. I don't know if I would have left right at that point, but I think I would have talked to her about it. And then probably during the party, I would have left.
I would
Like,
try.
when the one lady is literally asking if sex with him is better because he's black, I would have left at that point.
You're faking some sort of illness.
Yep.
I would
don't-
try and leave without her. I think I
Yeah.
would agree. I would try and leave during the party scene. After the interaction with Georgina, that's when I'd be like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm out.
One thing I noticed at the very beginning when the cop asks to see his license, he says, I don't have a license. I have state ID.
Yeah.
So I don't think he drives. I think that's why one of the reasons why he didn't just leave by himself.
As somebody who doesn't have a license, I'm like, that is horrifying. That's
Right?
literally your ride.
Because like clearly he knows how to drive. Like he takes the car at the end. He knows how. But
Yeah.
like I guess for whatever reason he doesn't have a license. So he felt like he was stuck with her because like she has the car keys the whole time. She's driving. Like she's very much in control of their
Yes.
transportation.
Yes.
Which was something I was sort of aware of, but I didn't really think about until this watch. Because it was the fact that he says state ID instead of his license. And I was like, oh.
And that's when you're like, wonder, like, I don't think the cops were in on it because in
No,
a weird
no.
way,
I
she's
don't think they were.
probably like, they're probably aware that people are going missing.
Right? Well, that's the thing about that one sequence, which is a fun fact, but I'm pretty sure most people also know, is when the cop shows up and starts asking for his ID and she makes a fuss and is like, no, he wasn't driving. You don't need to see it. And very much implies that the cop is being racist, which you could absolutely argue that he is. I personally think that he is.
Yes.
That's not actually her defending him. That's making sure there's no paper trail or record that he was with her before he
Yeah.
went missing. So at this point, the only record that he was with her or anything like that is Rod going to the cops saying he went with his girlfriend.
Everything she did the second time through, you're like, I hate you.
I hate you so much.
I hate you so much. You're so, you're
Evil.
the worst. Yeah,
Evil. Straight up evil.
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 Like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's the idea that, like, yes, you're right. They probably have noticed that people are going missing, but it's not in the same city where Rose
No.
lives. It's where her parents live. And I'm sure she would, at that point, she would be using a fake name, I'm sure, for at least, like, some of those people. And, like, you can just see how she would be able to get around it. And again, it's using that privilege of being a rich white woman where nobody's going to suspect you of that unless, in their mind, there are no other suspects.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she, because she has all this privilege, both, you know, financial, racial, all of that stuff, she's kind of in the perfect position to be that person.
She is.
Like it's, I'm
why
going to make a big jump here, but it's kind of like an Epstein situation where you're white and rich and powerful, so nobody's going to stop you.
That's why I'm stoked
Like-
that he won the Academy for Best Original Screenplay, because it does.
Yes, so well deserved.
Yeah.
If anybody else had won it, and it's no shade to the other films that year, he would have been robbed.
That's why I like his other two films. Still love, like, I still really like them, but I just enjoy how this one kind of wraps up any sort of ambiguity, as the
Yes.
other ones kind of make you interpret more, but not in a fun way.
Yeah.
Like
they are more open to interpretation than this one is,
but
for sure.
This one just feels so on the button.
It's true. So for me, the only other things I put as notable for this movie, beyond just like best, for example, were Catherine Keener as Missy. I do think she's very underrated in this movie because people rightfully talk about, Daniel Kaluuya and Alison Williams and Bradley Whitford, but like she's also very, very intense. Like, for example, in the first scene where she hypnotizes Chris and she asks him, "Did you smoke in front of my daughter?" And he sort of brushes it off and she starts going, "That's my kid, man." And you can tell she feels some kind of way about that. And realistically, she's not trying to get him to stop smoking because of her kid. It's because she doesn't want to damage the merchandise that she's going to auction off later. But that said, you can see there is real rage hiding behind that.
And also how rude. Let the guy smoke a cigarette. It also kind of adds to the jitteriness because it's like...
Right? He's also nicking out at this point, too.
Yeah.
Well, it's like at the beginning when he goes to have a cigarette in the car and Alison Williams throws it out and he's like, "I'm a grown adult." And she's like, "Yeah, well, no, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's nicotine, it's gross, blah, blah, blah." Which, like, okay, sure, I get it. You're technically right and smoking is, bad for you and all this stuff. He's also right. He's an adult. If he wants to make that decision, that's actually not up to you.
It's not, but it also subtly shows how less of his free will is being taken away.
She's slowly sort of groomed him into this position where he will do what she wants and all this stuff. And it's
that just makes us sound good.
Right? It's under the guise of a loving relationship. It's not, that I don't want your lungs to be damaged so you're more valuable. It's I'm concerned about your longevity because we're in love. Mm-hmm. And like, ooh, you're so evil to use that against somebody. Ooh.
100%. What would you say are we on our cut, keep, redo?
First, we're going to do our ratings, which I think I can say, for at least for me, is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Jordan Peele forever. Yeah. And like rewatchability anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yes.
Always down for a rewatch. But yes, cut, keep, redo. And this was so difficult.
This was difficult.
This was so
I
difficult.
told myself that I couldn't say, "No, this movie's perfect." I attempted this week, everybody. Thank you.
Right? And I was joking before we started recording that since Jayme struggled and didn't really do her cut, keep, redo for Silence of the Lambs, if I couldn't come up with anything, this could be my freebie. So...
balance.
Exactly. So for me, I said cut Caleb Landry Jones, who I mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. I think if I had to change something, it would be that. Like, I don't want to change anything, but it would be that. I would cast someone fairly similar, but someone just like a little more subtle, I think would be kind of interesting. Just so we could see, like in that dinner scene, for example, we only get a few lines before things turn sour, but see just like a little bit more of a progression in his behavior where like he is still a little drunk, he's a little aggressive, but it would be enough that people would kind of laugh it off and not really worry about it. And then he makes the turn. I feel like it would have been a little bit more impactful at that point. But again, I am splitting hairs. Like I am being so picky right now. Keep the script and the cast because it's perfect. And redo nothing. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Okay. So for mine, I decided that I wanted to cut a little bit of the comedy for the scene when he does go talk to the police officer. I would have loved if it just ended with like, we'll still file a report. But I do understand that we're going off the guise of like true crime element here, where a lot of these people wouldn't get, like, it's so devastating that people were just told, "Oh, she'll just show up," or "He'll just be there," and because it's a certain demographic of people, and it being a Black female police officer, and then it just, that part where I wanted to, because that's where it hinders on a hybrid instead of it just being like horror, is because there needed to be a little bit more of a life element of, like, a bit of more real world element to it.
A little bit.
Because as much as that is, and he made light of a dark situation, I still would have preferred, like, possibly just being like, we'll still file a missing person. So then that way it doesn't feel like, it just adds a real world.
Yeah, or if even at the end they had said, like, look, we can file a report, but realistically, he's an adult, and if he leaves, there's not really much we can do about that, or something like that. Like, I would have appreciated maybe just, like, one line like that. Because even him getting laughed out of the room, like, with him talking about white people taking sex slaves and stuff, like, that's not shocking that you would get laughed out of the room at that point. That is what would happen.
It is kind of funny that the one character did legitimately
become a sex slave.
So he was right.
He was right.
He was 100% right.
But I also feel like, realistically, especially someone like Rod who works in some kind of security would know not to go to the cops and start talking about crazy white people taking sex slaves. He would say, my friend, I think is missing. I haven't heard from him and I'm concerned.
Exactly.
Like,
it just feeds to the point of it takes away the real worldness.
A little bit. So it does take you out of it a tiny bit.
But again, you need that relief.
You do.
So harsh.
And we'll get into fun facts in just a moment here, but especially with the original ending that they had planned for this movie, you need that comedy. You need that levity.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
I said keep the explanation because I love what they're doing it for. It's very creative and unique.
Yes.
And
the coagula procedure.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And keep all the exposition because it's a lot of exposition done well.
Yes, it's not just an exposition dump. It's actually shown really, really well.
The house tour especially. Yep. And then, I'm just adding this one, but keep the Foley on the teacup. The teacup, that sound element
I did mention the sound design and the soundtrack for this are both excellent. Like, because you do have, for example, before Chris goes out to smoke at the very beginning, when he's walking through the house, there is a moment where Georgina passes him in a different hallway and he doesn't see her. And I never noticed there is actually a musical stinger that goes along with it and stuff like that.
Okay,
so
that's funny because I slightly disagree with that.
Oh, really?
There were some parts where it seemed a little bit too of a high key piano going, and I get it because it definitely realms from older horror films.
It does.
But it kind of made it a bit too cheeky for me.
That's right. I like a cheeky horror movie, so that's fair.
And then also my other redo is redo the fire. The digital fire did not really look great. And but that happens. I get it. Like it's a choice of either you wanting to actually
they probably
do a fire
couldn't
set
actually do it is probably what it was. Like they probably couldn't either get the permits or it would have been too expensive or they didn't want to try and reset it or like any number of things.
You would have had to build a soundstage of that exact room.
So that you could burn it down,
I don't know if that room was a soundstage at all. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they shot much of this
house.
in studio. Yeah, I think it was mostly on location. So at that point, it makes sense that they would use digital just for the sake of time and money and safety.
Right.
Like, it does make sense.
The only thing that didn't, for me, look great.
That's very fair. I'm also very picky with CGI flames. Like I mentioned this in our Hills Have Eyes episode.
Yeah.
This one, it was fine. It didn't bother me, but I think that's so fair.
But this is how picky I had to be because I genuinely think that this is such an impactful movie and it's something that you, like, don't rewatch it all the time. Give it, like, a year or two break and see how relevant some of this stuff still is and how much has also changed since then because we do have to give ourselves credit that some stuff has progressed, awareness has progressed.
Yeah.
There's things like we are really on
people know that terrible things are happening now. That's true.
Yeah, because it's unfortunate when you need to keep having things made just to say that, like, hey, things aren't perfect.
Yeah, this whole, like, illusion we've been selling ourselves is maybe just that, an illusion.
Which is why horror is a great genre.
Exactly.
I love it.
And again, to quote my king Guillermo del Toro, horror is inherently political. So don't get mad at us. This is the thing.
You got something to say.
Right? We got something to say. So let's get into some fun facts.
Beautiful.
So, are you ready, guys? Because this is going to be kind of lengthy. There's a lot of fun facts about this movie. Daniel Kaluuya was actually cast on the spot at his audition after nailing it by doing 5 different takes of one of the key scenes. They didn't specify which one, which required him to cry on cue. And he managed to do it so exactly that a single tear fell down his face at the same time in each take that they did.
Magical.
That is a master right there. He needs more credit. Give him all the things. The opening sequence of the film is actually partially inspired by John Carpenter's Halloween from 1978, which Jordan Peele described as a subversion of the perfect white neighborhood, which is exactly what he was going for. And I personally think he absolutely crushed. He nailed it. He also said that the title is partially a reference to what he often hears Black audience members shout at the screen during horror movies, usually at the protagonist, to get out. Like, he said it is much more prevalent with Black audience members than white audience members, that they will be invested and just, like, start yelling at the screen.
I will say that scene felt more devastating this time just because you know that there's somebody in there.
Yes,
and
once
he only
you know.
has that long. it kills me, man.
Yeah, it gets me. But then you also understand Chris being like, what is this guy talking about? Like, what do you mean? Get out, get out, get out, get out. Like, do I need to get out? Do you need to get out? Like, what?
Because that's all he could muster.
Yes. The title also refers to the signs that were posted along various highways and county lines in the U.S., a lot of them in the South, but not all of them, which...
Probably the sundown towns.
That's exactly what I was about to say, which read Get Out, and they were directed towards Black Americans, advising them to leave before sunset due to the existence of sundown towns. And for those who don't know, a sundown town is a all-white municipality, which they would enforce segregation via either just very, very crappy local laws or usually intimidation and a shitload of violence. It was understood as a sundown town that if you were a person of color who happened to be there at the wrong time, you were not making it out alive, period. Despite segregation not being legal at that point, some of these towns existed and enforced those laws up until the 1970s, guys. Like, it got to a point where if you have ever seen, for example, Lovecraft Country from HBO, which I highly recommend, great series, got canceled too soon. Part of the premise is that one of the characters has gone missing while making a map of sundown towns to hand out in Black communities so that people can stay safe. So this is very real and very terrifying for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about. If you decide to Google it, it will ruin your whole week, but I would highly recommend doing it because an educated person is a good one. We like educating ourselves, even on bad things occasionally.
Sometimes you have to ruin your own day.
Sometimes you do, because you need the reality of the situation. Like, let's go for it. You got to just burst that bubble, pop it.
Which, again, like, that's why this movie's so great, because a lot of this imagery is used throughout.
Exactly.
Ugh.
So, Lil Rel Howery, who plays Rod, has said that he is now constantly recognized by TSA agents after the movie came out. Every single time he travels, he gets stopped because apparently TS motherfucking A is here for it, which I think is so funny.
Thank you for making us look positive.
Right? Yes, absolutely. At approximately the 11-minute mark, we do hear a voice in the background say, "A mind is a terrible thing to waste." And the audio was recorded by Jordan Peele. So that is his voice. It featured in the movie. That is his quote-unquote director cameo. When directing Allison Williams to play Rose, Jordan Peele told her to consider the role as two different characters. Rose, Chris's loving girlfriend, and Roro, the sociopath capable of that level of violence. And he said the real test for Allison Williams was the sequence where Rose is on the phone with Rod, because she's vocally playing Rose, the living girlfriend, but you see her having the mannerisms of Roro because that's who she's actually being right now.
It's like, of course, he goes to record and all of a sudden her switch flipped and she's like, "I know you wanted me." And it's like,
Honestly, my favorite part of that is him going, "No, no," and hanging up the phone and then yelling, "God damn it, she's a genius!"
Yeah, yeah, that part was great.
That got me. That was so funny. So at around the 30-minute mark, director Jordan Peele asserted that the scene where Walter, played by Marcus Henderson, is running full speed at Chris and the audience simultaneously, since we are in Chris's perspective, is a nod towards the power of depth in films. He cited North by Northwest, the 1959 Alfred Hitchcock film, as an example of this technique, stating, "Somebody running at you or towards you just creates a visceral and physical reaction for the audience." The main theme, which I am not going to attempt to pronounce because I'm a white woman and that would be not a good idea, was sung in Swahili, with the exception of the English word brother, a word which composer Michael Abels felt had a special universal meaning amongst Black people that did not need translation. According to Abels, the voices in the song represent the souls of Black slaves and lynching victims trying to warn Chris to get away. The translation of the lyrics is, "Brother, run, listen to the elders, listen to the truth, run away, save yourself."
Run, rabbit.
Run, rabbit, run, run, run.
Oh, so creepy.
So creepy. Yasuhiko Oyama, who plays Hiroki Tanaka, the Japanese man of the garden party, is not an actor, but a noted karate master.
Hiya.
Hiya! The casting call for secondary characters was local, and Peele had trouble finding an older Japanese actor near Mobile, Alabama. Oyama lives in Birmingham, Alabama, about 4 hours north of Mobile, where he runs the World Oyama Karate Organization and is the father-in-law of Peele's friend, Ken Marino.
That's beautiful.
Yes. So
Also, I feel like you would do really well because you would just hit your mark because you're so used to hitting different karate moves.
so many different marks. You
That's
gotta
awesome.
hit just the right spot.
That's okay. I don't know why I like that fun fact the best.
I really liked that fun fact too. I was like, that's so fun.
Yeah.
I love that. So one of the reasons why this movie feels so like well thought out, why everything pays off, why it's so specific, is because Jordan Peele said that he originally wrote more than 200 drafts of this script before coming up with the one that was used for final production. This took him years to write.
I bet. It
Like-
happens when because comedy was so on the forefront for him.
Yes.
And that was your main moneymaker. So it's nice when you get into a position in your career where you can do other things because, like, I know $5 million is a lot of money, but when you know the right people to get that money from and you've worked with different production companies, it makes total sense. And then you have this horror baby that has been in the back of your mind and you
Yes.
finally want to get it produced because it's,
Yeah.
so much...
Well, the other thing
so
is
much
like
traveling time and downtime as a comedian.
right? Well, the other thing is that like he started writing this movie during the Obama administration, which Obama got elected in, was it 2008, 2009? And this came out in 2017. So he was working on this for almost 10 years.
Wow.
Like just writing and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting, which in my opinion is probably why it's so perfect. But then when you look at his movies afterwards, like we mentioned before, he probably only spent a year or two writing those.
That's what I was kind of thinking. Because
Yeah, and
sometimes you
that's-
just have more time. Like,
Yeah,
it's
like it's not any statement against those movies. It's just more that like that's why this one is so perfect. Is
Yes.
because he spent so long perfecting
and
it.
realistically, he has done. It's been a movie almost every 2 years. I
Yeah,
think he
he's
has
been pumping
another
them
one
out.
coming out. I saw there's an untitled project in the works.
He's
right now.
working on one right now. I don't know much about it, but
Which is
he's
great.
He's
Yeah.
working on something, and Monkey Paw has just been cranking them out in the last
Yes,
while, which I'm here
yes.
for. This is the 6th horror film nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture, after The Exorcist in 1973, Jaws in 1975, The Silence of the Lambs in 1991, The Sixth Sense in 1999, and Black Swan in 2010. Of these 6, only The Silence of the Lambs has won.
Wow. But also, what a great list.
Right? What company to be keeping?
for real.
Regarding the meaning of the sunken place, Jordan Peele said, "The sunken place means we're marginalized. No matter how hard we scream, the system silences us." Okay, and this was one of my favorite fun facts. Are you ready for this? Eddie Murphy was originally chosen to play Chris, but Jordan Peele changed his mind after he decided he was too old for the role, because the entire movie was inspired by part of Eddie Murphy's, I believe it was his stand-up, but it was a joke he made about how Black people are never in horror movies like this, because if they were, when things start to get really weird and you see signs of like ghosts or like things start to go sideways, he would just look at his wife and be like, "Okay, honey, we gotta go. It's time to leave." Just, nope, absolutely not.
Mind my own business.
Yep, exactly. Jordan Peele also cited Night of the Living Dead as an inspiration for making his feature film writing and directing debut, because the film had a Black protagonist.
Okay, wait, that's so funny because I literally love The Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy. And like,
Wow.
you didn't leave in time.
Right.
You should have left.
You know this.
Great movie. Great movie.
I haven't seen it, but I'll take your word for it. The stark black and white cinematic poster showing a cropped close-up of the protagonist's eyes is an inverted reference to the poster of La Haine from 1995. Both films offer contemporary examinations of cultural appropriation, marginalization, and racism. If you haven't seen La Haine, highly recommend it. Yeah, you have Vincent Cassel in like the early 90s just being an absolute maniac, and it's like a 10 out of 10. It's stunning. Gotta check it out.
Okay.
Jordan Peele used Silence of the Lambs for inspiration on shooting the hypnosis scenes between Chris and Missy. The face-offs between Clarice Starling and Dr. Hannibal Lecter, filmed tightly in close-ups in which the characters looked directly at the camera, informed Peele's style in these scenes.
I can see that.
Right? That makes a lot of sense. Okay, and this was also one of my favorite fun facts. During the DVD commentary, writer, co-producer, and director Jordan Peele explained that he had created a large backstory for the Armitage group of and their group of friends. They belong to an ancient secret society descended from the Knights Templar, who are associated with the Holy Grail in popular culture. For centuries, they have been trying to seek eternal life promised by the Holy Grail and finally achieved it with the coagula procedure. This also explains the significance of the knight's helmet Jeremy has in the opening scene where he abducts Andre.
Thank you.
Yes. We love a DVD commentary for this reason.
And also, I'm so sorry to go back to the Eddie Murphy fun fact,
do.
but I'm pretty sure the guy that plays Dre also it was the lead actor in the new Haunted Mansion.
He was, yeah.
So that is a layered fun fact.
Right? Now it is, yeah.
That one was okay.
It wasn't at the time, but now it's a much more layered fun fact.
Now it's more layered.
Look at you go, Jordan Peele, making layers you didn't even know were there.
Thank you.
Look at you. Also, just side note, I love Lakeith Stanfield. I have such a crush on him. I love him. So coagula, the name for the mind transfer procedure, is Latin for it joins. It is better known as one half of the alchemic maxim solve et coagula. It separates and it joins, i.e. how alchemy transforms matter. And like the knight helmet, it hints at the ancient roots of the unnamed society of body snatchers. All right, now we're getting into the nitty gritty because we're almost done here.
Beautiful.
So, the downbeat alternative ending that was filmed and included on physical media as bonus material at the very end of the movie has the police show up instead of Rod. Chris is arrested, and when Rod speaks to him in jail, Chris's hypnosis prevents him from recounting the specifics of what happened, but Chris says that he stopped the Armitages from committing their deeds ever again. They part somberly as Chris is taken back to his holding cell with the assumption that he will spend the rest of his life in prison.
That one, I could not handle that as an ending. I don't know why.
I completely understand why they changed it, because, like, if we're being honest, that's the real ending. If this actually happened, that's the real ending. But especially, like, for a North American audience, they would not be able to take that level of bleakness.
No, and I think I read I just read on Wikipedia that another one of the endings was supposed to be Rod finding Chris, and he's like smiling because he's got the procedure done. Yeah. Which would also be pretty bleak as well.
From what I was reading, basically one of the reasons why they decided to reshoot it was, amongst others, it was not a singular incident, but the shooting of Trayvon Martin was around that time. And that was when a lot of racially fueled violence in the U.S. was really, really ramping up. And so Jordan Peele basically decided that it was too much, and he didn't think audiences would be able to handle it. And I do think that he's absolutely correct. So to say, if this was a more true-to-life movie, that would be the ending. However, audiences it just would have been too much.
So thank you so much. I need the relief.
Yes, and I do think that was the correct creative choice.
Yes.
According to Jordan Peele, the massive amounts of racist events and crimes under the Obama administration, which had created the myth of America being post-racial, inspired him to write this film. He explains, being a Black American, I have never seen my perspective in a horror film. Get Out has my worst fears realized as a Black man in this country. From the evil white girl who's been lying to you to the lacrosse stick, those things are foreign to me. And I do think it's worth noting that in real life, Jordan Peele's wife is Chelsea Peretti from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, who is a white woman. So you can basically bet that at least a couple of these experiences they have had in their relationship, be it, her introducing him to someone in her life who says one of those things like somebody at a party or something like that. Like, obviously, I don't know if that's happened, but you can just see it, Like, I'm sure that potentially affected both of their views on this film.
Well, like, realistically, it's like, it doesn't matter if it happens a lot. Even if it happens one time, it's more than enough.
Exactly.
I can't explain it. Yeah.
And also, can I just say for a second, comedy power couple.
Yes.
The two of them. That'd be such a funny household. Like, I think
everything would be a bit.
Right? I think they have a couple kids now. I know they have at least one, but I think they have a couple kids. And, like, can you imagine if those were your parents?
And you're not funny.
Right? Oh my God, the pressure. Yeah. Okay, so I have our final fun fact, which I feel will set us up quite nicely. When writer, co-producer, and director Jordan Peele was asked if Universal Pictures had requested a sequel to this film, he stated, "Of course they have. It was the first thing they said. Let's do a sequel." He goes on to say, "Honestly, I'm open to it, but I won't do a sequel for just some kind of cash grab. If it's right, if it feels good, and I feel like I can beat the original, I'll do it.
And here we are.
Oh, look at us. Jordan Peele, if you're listening.
Welcome to the Dome.
Hello, hire us, please.
I'll take anything. I don't want to do my job anymore.
Anything. Honestly, I'm gonna be.
I love my job, but
I'm gonna be that terrible artist and say I would do it for exposure.
Experience, paid with experience
and exposure. All right. So, in terms of this movie, do you think it was worth the bitch?
I 100% think this is worth the bitch because
Absolutely.
Any perspective on this movie is great perspective. Anything you can take away from it is fabulous. It's just a good movie.
It really is.
Well, actually, I usually use that word for a lot, but I will say it's a great movie because
really is.
everyone was participating at like a high level.
I'm going to go ahead and say this is a phenomenal movie. Like, this is really next level.
It is. It marks off boxes that you want marked off, and also I think it brings something to the table where we have seen it before, but you've just presented it in such a fabulous way because I love horror. I love horror tropes when they're done right. We essentially want movies we've seen before, but in a different bow.
But better.
Yeah.
And I do agree with Jordan Peele. Like, up until this movie, while there had been obviously horror movies with Black protagonists made by Black directors telling Black stories, it had never been from this perspective in such a real life way. Because a lot of movies, you know, for example, you have like Blackula or Ganja and Hess. Can you tell I have a thing about vampire movies?
Blaxploitation films in general.
Yeah, like there's all kinds of stuff like that, but it's never been something that is so grounded in reality.
I will say it's made for all audiences.
Yeah, I was going to say, but so accessible.
Yes.
And like, there's just so many different qualities about it that I do feel like we have never seen before. When he says, you know, he's never seen his perspective in a horror film. Like, God knows Jordan Peele has seen more horror movies than I have. He would be the authority on that one. And I think bringing it into that first person perspective in the modern day, as I say, like really rooted in that reality and his personal experience, I think is a huge part of the genius behind this movie.
I agree. I agree. Like, no.
Right? Like, no, I can't even fault it.
When you have like a comedic background, you're just constantly making observations.
Yes.
And when you can, again, just reformat that into a different genre, great.
Incredible. Such talent, such
Yes.
skill. I wish I could.
Yes, me too.
All right, so shall we get into some pitches?
Let's do it.
Okay, Jordan Peele, if you're listening, this is the time.
Okay.
Would you like to go first, or do you want me to go?
I'll go first this time.
Okay, you go for it.
Perfect. 3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
Okay, so I have a prequel pitched as based on the early failures and then the first perfected ritual. I would love it to see set in like the mid to late 60s when segregation laws were just overturned because the stakes would be so much higher.
Yeah.
And I would also prefer it to have a bleak ending this time, just because we do have a relieving ending with Get Out.
Yes,
so
that's
then
true.
that way, if you're going to watch the prequel and then Get Out, then you're like, thank goodness there was an end to this reign of terror.
He got out, thank God.
Yes. And that's my pitch.
Okay, I love it. A little okay, Jordan Peele. So like if that strikes a chord with you, we can do something.
Like, how far do things go? And love a period piece because you would have more a
do.
budget.
Yeah, we love that.
Depending what time period.
I mean, if you do like the 60s, then like that could be a thing.
Yes.
So I went a little more in depth on my pitch because,
Cool.
As I said to Jimmy, I was doing the research and our fun facts, and I got inspired.
Beautiful.
For my sequel. So, although I also wrote it this morning, so hopefully it works and makes sense.
Procrastination.
Okay, if I can get the clock ready. Thank you so much. All right, let's go. After escaping the Armitage family, Chris and Rod return to the city and try to move on with their lives. Unable to do so, Chris begins to look for answers. Who were the Armitages, really? Were they the first ones to attempt the coagula procedure? Through his research, Chris discovers the Armitages' connections to the Knights Templar and their obsession with the idea of eternal life and the Holy Grail. He discovers that the Armitages were only one family in a vast global network, all of whom are performing their own versions of the coagula procedure. Chris decides to infiltrate the operation, posing as a survivor reviving Armitage after a successful coagula procedure. Chris rises in the ranks of the organization, bringing himself into the shadowy corridors of global power. However, when he is asked to perform the coagula procedure as a final test of loyalty, Chris is instead forced to murder the procedure's intended recipient and freeze its victim, revealing his true identity in the process. Chris is taken prisoner, and we cut to black. When we return, we see Chris acting as an Armitage, greeting guests at a gathering of the secret society, clearly having been a victim of the coagula procedure.
Wow, I really liked that. That was so fun.
Thank you.
I like how it went all the way up to the top.
It did.
Because that's how it's supposed to be.
It did. It went all the way to the top. And I was like, we're given kind of like QAnon meets Da Vinci Code. Like,
yes. Well, and like, I love it because I can see it happening because it's in us. I almost wanted to see more of like who this institution is.
Absolutely. So how this happened.
Plays on that. That is a very Peele like
Thank you.
pitch, my friend.
I tried. I felt like I knocked on something cool there.
And horrifying because like, yeah, you can just continue the imagery through.
Exactly.
And like scary white people are scary white people.
Scary white people are terrifying.
Yes.
Like that's the thing that I think Jordan Peele let a bunch of white people in on is that like we're real scary when we're in a big group.
Well, yeah, like, you know, a big group of people who you don't really know anything about will always look scary no matter what. True. That's just how it be.
So Jordan Peele, if you want to make a movie, call us.
Fabulous.
Fab.
Oh, friends. Great. Thank you.
So be you, Jordan Peele, or anyone else, if you want to contact us, track us down, you can contact us at pnb.pod.show@gmail.com, or our Instagram handle is at pitchandbitchpod. That's PITCHNBITCHPOD on Instagram. And thank you all so much for joining us for our first episode of season 2.
Season 2.
We're so excited. We have some absolute bangers in store for you guys. Y'all ain't even ready. This is going to be so much fun. And I think that's it. So we'll see you guys next time.
Yep. I'm Jayme.
I'm Becca. And this has been Pitch and Bitch. Bye, friends.